A close battle with Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes, but the Sun Devils fall now to 1-5 on the season, a 27-24 loss. Without Sparky.com, he's Jack Pearson. I'm Matt Venezia. Back-to-back home games for the first time since 2007, sold out, Jack. So regardless of what's been happening on the field, the community is very much involved in what Kenny Dillingham's trying to build here.
Yeah, I mean, these games have really been an electric atmosphere, Matt. There's no doubt about it. When it's third down, the crowd has definitely impacted this game and give Arizona State a competitive advantage. There is no doubt about that. And it's just been a better product than the football field. I mean, they've been competitive with USC and Colorado now, two ranked teams at some point during the season. Obviously, Colorado wasn't ranked going into this game, but two very good football teams. And you would think, last season and the seasons have passed that these Arizona State fans would be out of here at halftime. They've stayed, and they've been loud throughout this game.
And even for an afternoon game, too. The student section was here all the way through, so a lot of people are showing up for it, and it's something that Coach Dillingham says needs to continue to happen regardless of the results if he wants his team to have that competitive advantage.
The last two games here, I would hope the fans could not only see the growth of the program and the direction we're heading, but they can see the fight of our guys, and they can see how it's an advantage to have them here. They can see how college football is fun when it's a sold-out crowd, that this is a great environment that we can create here, and that if everybody who showed up the last 2 weeks shows up again, we can create another really exciting environment, another competitive advantage, and we will win football games. We will win a lot of football games.
And really, Kenny Dillingham has to be impressed with his defense tonight. I mean, it started with 5 sacks by this Arizona State team tonight, and it was Prince Dorba with 2.5. BJ Green had one himself. They were all over the field tonight, Matt. What did you see from that defensive front, Matt?
Well, it's just something that you have to know going into the week when you take on Shedeur Sanders, his mobility, the way he's able to extend plays that, similar to Caleb Williams, tough assignments in back-to-back home games have to keep under, duress. Yet the Sun Devils probably had their most effective game from the pass rush. You mentioned BJ Green, Prince Dorba. There were a handful of guys. Even Matus got in there as well for a half sack today. Causing that pressure forces, Shedeur Sanders to have to go off script, and that's really plays in your favor, getting him to have to go off script, get Coach Prime thinking in different directions. And that was honestly the biggest part of this game, at least defensively, that stood out to me. Great job, Brian Ward and his defensive staff.
Yeah, and they didn't create a turnover tonight, but it feels like one is coming the way that they're playing. They're being hyper-aggressive, and they even forced a few fumbles that weren't able to be recovered by the Sun Devils tonight. And that's just kind of luck, and that's what Kenny kind of mentioned in there. It just the ball's not turning. They're just not turning the ball over. It's eventually going to happen if they continue to play this way.
And that's what I was going to say. In the presser, he says, yeah, it's not really luck. It's just a matter of just holding on to the football or maybe just getting another opportunity at it. This defense is so close, inside the top 30 in the FBS in terms of points allowed as a defensive unit. So you know that they're doing a good job in keeping the offense in the game, which is where we're going to go next. The offense probably looked the most efficient we've seen. Coach Dillingham called Trenton Bourguet a facilitator, just getting the ball out quickly. We know this offensive line is beat up, so much to the point that 3 true freshmen were in there tonight, Jack, at one point in the ball game, including Sean Nye. I mean, he looked really good protecting Trenton Bourguet, but, I mean, getting the ball out quick to Elijah Badger. Dillingham says getting him in space, allowing your best players to do what they're so good at. We saw that tonight, even with a Cam Scadaboo, who only had 49 yards rushing and a touchdown. He was dealing with some illnesses, but probably compared to that USC game, you saw more explosiveness in ASU today en route to that 300-yard passing performance from Trenton Bourguet.
Absolutely. Yeah, you said Cam Scadaboo and also Jalen Conyers were not practicing a whole lot this week. I don't think that they practiced at all, in fact. And he mentioned that it's really difficult to get those guys involved when they haven't been around the team playing on the practice field. So it was a tough situation for the Sun Devils tonight in that aspect, but they did really recover well, and they found a way to move the ball down the field. Even late in this game, a must-have touchdown drive, they were able to facilitate it all over the field. Everybody was making plays tonight, and Trenton Bourguet, you have to give props to him. I mean, he played unbelievable. He was a leader. He took some sacks tonight. He maybe held onto the ball a few times. Everybody makes those mistakes, but it's how you bounce back. And it feels like with Trenton Bourguet leading this offense, they have a leader on that team.
And now, at a perfect time of being 1-5, Coach Dillingham said going into the bye, the most important thing, regardless of the outcome on the scoreboard, is to get healthy. And now you have an opportunity before going on the road to Seattle to see the Huskies, who, by the way, to this point, Jack, as we stand here doing this, still their last loss, yes, was Arizona State last season in early October. Similar setting to this contest, and that was a big motivation in being the underdog at home. The line moved all the way down to 3, Jack, and for good reason. The Sun Devils were in this game all the way to the end.
They were, and really, it was just a one-play differential, just one big play that didn't go their way. If you can remember, there was a blocked field goal against Arizona State, and Kenny mentioned in the presser that he believes that it was an offsides. He's going to have to go back and review that because it really looked like it was awfully close. And, those are just key plays, and just one thing that needed to go Arizona State's way tonight didn't happen, and they didn't win the game. And that's what Kenny's all about. He's all about winning. That's what he spoke and preached inside the presser after the game. He just wants to see wins, but he's proud of his guys for being competitive in a game like this. They could have just sat down and saw these USC, Colorado come in and just sat down and taken those losses, but they really showed a lot of effort and a lot of hard work.
Jack, another thing I want to touch on, a group on the defense that really coming into this season was one of the weaker points on the roster for Arizona State. The linebackers tonight really were wrapping up tackles, making good plays. Tate Romney and Caleb McCullough are coming off really solid performances against USC and Cal. They saw that carry over tonight and allowing that secondary too to have some help back there. So much so that it's just easier football, Jack, when you got help from all over the field, not just the pass rushers that have really been a staple of this defense.
The defense has really improved throughout this season, and it's just been fantastic to see, if you're Kenny Dillingham and this staff, to just see the growth of every single position group, even the corners tonight. I mean, there was really tough matchups on the outside with Xavier Weaver and Horn. I mean, these are really talented guys. They could be one of the best in the nation when it's all said and done this season. And you got Shedeur Sanders, Heisman candidate at some point during this season, throwing them the football, and they're led by Coach Prime, who obviously is a fantastic leader and coach for Colorado. But that defensive unit looked fantastic, and they definitely were not the reason that the Sun Devils came up short tonight.
Held Colorado to under 300 total yards on offense, despite still losing this ball game, Jack. Now we should go back and look at really one of the more defining parts of this ball game, the Troy Omire touchdown here in this near end zone. What did you think about the decision to tie the game with the extra point? There was a discussion possibly about going for 2. I think that's just too much time to leave for Shedeur Sanders, regardless of if you're up by 1 point or if you miss it, you're down 1. It made more sense, in my opinion, to do what Kenny Dillingham did and kick the extra point.
Yeah, it was never a doubt for Kenny Dillingham, and he just mentioned that inside the press conference. He said that with 50 seconds left, when you get that 2-point conversion, you actually make that offense on the other side more aggressive and a better football team. And statistically, it's just not a wise decision. He said if there was 15 seconds, 10 seconds, then maybe it's a different conversation. But Arizona State at home with the crowd on their side, it was never a decision for Kenny Dillingham to go for 2.
27-24 is the final score. Again, one of the best breakout performances we've seen from this offense to this point, as well as the defense making a lot of plays, the 5 sacks headlining the effort from Brian Ward and his guys. But nonetheless, going into the bye, the Sun Devils sitting at 1-5, still season outlook of 3.5 over/under in the win category. Right now, it's a tough backstretch, Jack. I mean, the next home game after the bye, you're going to go on the road to Washington. Then you're going to see Washington State. And then before too long, Oregon. Bo Nix, the former team that Kenny Dillingham was offensive coordinating for, come in. What do you project the rest of the way for this Arizona State team that now enters again this bye after 6 games, 1-5?
Well, Matt, I'll tell you, if they continue to play this way, they're going to find a win. They're going to upset somebody. And I would have to say, if you're Oregon, if you're Washington, if you're Washington State, you don't want to play this football team right now, especially in this building when it's ruckus and the fans are going absolutely wild. This is a pretty dangerous football team that almost took down USC. They were in that game. They were 1 play away from beating Colorado tonight. So I think if Arizona State just continues to get better like they have and continues to be aggressive, and if the team just stays together, I see definitely a potential upset this season.
Again, a very close game. Coach Prime against Kenny D. It goes the way of the Buffs, 27-24, the final. We've had it for you here with House of Sparky. He's Jack Pearson. I'm Matt Venezia. We will see you after the bye. When the Sun Devils go on the road to Seattle, we will have coverage for you up there when the Sun Devils see the Huskies in 2 weeks' time.